Welcome to The Explainer. Ever wonder how on a massive construction project, a pile of steel and concrete actually turns into, well, money? Today, we're going to break down the official rulebook that makes it all happen.
I mean, really think about it. Picture a huge job site. Stuff is happening every single second, right? Earth is being moved, structures are climbing higher. But how do you actually, systematically and fairly turn all that physical work into the cold, hard cash that keeps the whole thing running? Well, for a huge number of projects around the world that use FIDIC contracts, the answer is Clause 12. And look, this isn't just some boring administrative paperwork. No way. This is the financial engine of the entire contract. It's the exact rulebook for measuring what's been done and then figuring out what it's worth.
Okay, so let's dive right in. Here's our game plan. We'll talk about why this clause is basically the project's paycheck. Then we'll get right inside Clause 12 itself, figure out who does what, look at the big picture risks, and then wrap it all up with a practical field guide.
All right, first things first. Let's really get why Clause 12 isn't just another section in a super dense contract, but why it's truly the heartbeat of a project's financial health. So, just so we're all working from the same playbook here, our main reference is a really foundational document, the FIDIC 2017 Red Book. You'll hear it called the Conditions of Contract for Construction. It's pretty much the global gold standard for big international projects. Okay, let's get into the nitty-gritty. We're going to deconstruct the core of Clause 12, and you're about to see that it's actually a beautifully logical system, and it's all built on two main ideas. So at its absolute core, Clause 12 is built on two pillars, measurement and valuation. And here's a great way to think about it. Measurement, that's like carefully counting every single ingredient that goes into some complex recipe, right? And then valuation, that's taking that list of ingredients and putting the correct price next to each one to get the total cost of the final dish. You absolutely have to get both of them right to get a fair price.
Now, this is so important. Measurement is not just guesswork. Subclause 12.2 is super clear about this. It calls for the net actual quantity. What does that mean? It means you only measure what physically becomes part of the final permanent works, the thing that's actually being built. It means you specifically don't count wasted materials or shrinkage or temporary stuff. It's all about what the employer, the client, actually gets in the end.
So, once everyone's agreed on a quantity, that's when valuation comes into play. Under subclause 12.3, the engineer takes that number, let's say it's 500 cubic meters of concrete, and multiplies it by the pre-agreed rate from the contract's Bill of Quantities. You can think of that Bill of Quantities as the project's official price list. And boom, that's the moment when numbers on a spreadsheet turn into actual money.
And you can see here, this is not a casual back-of-the-envelope process at all. It's a formal, transparent dance, really. The engineer kicks things off with at least a week's notice. The contractor, and this is key, must attend and help out. Meticulous records are kept of everything. And then the contractor gets a 14-day window to double-check it all. This whole structure, it's basically a defense mechanism against future fights designed to get everyone on the same page right from the start.
Okay, so now that we've got the process down, let's talk about the people. This isn't a one-person job. It's a carefully coordinated effort between three key players.
What's really fascinating here is this triangle of responsibility. You've got the employer, whose main job is to hire a competent engineer. Then there's the engineer, who acts as the skilled professional driving the whole process. They start the measurements, they do the valuation. But look at the contractor's role. It's just as active and just as critical. They have to be there, they have to assist, and they have to verify. It's like a built-in system of checks and balances.
And hey, if you ever start to think the contractor's role isn't that important, the contract itself gives this really stark warning. It basically says if the contractor's representative is a no-show for a scheduled measurement, well, whatever the engineer measures is automatically accepted as accurate. So yeah, showing up isn't just a good idea, it is absolutely essential to protect your own interests.
So why are we spending all this time on just one clause? Simple, because its impact ripples across the entire project, affecting everything from cash flow to arguments.
You know, when Clause 12 is handled right, it's a huge win for everyone. The contractor gets paid fairly and on time, which keeps their cash flow healthy. The employer gets a crystal clear, accurate record of exactly what they're paying for. This systematic way of doing things just starves potential arguments of oxygen before they can blow up into costly disputes. And crucially, it sets up a solid, reliable framework for pricing any changes or variations that pop up later.
All right, let's take all this theory and bring it right down to the construction site. If you're an engineer or a project manager out in the field, what are the absolute key takeaways you need to have in your head every single day?
Okay, these are the best practices you need to burn into your brain. First, document everything. Your meticulous records are your best and sometimes only defense. Second, attend every measurement. Your presence is non-negotiable. It's how you protect your interests. Third, know your method. Really understand the specific measurement rules in your contract because they can differ. Fourth, agree as you go. Try to get agreement on quantities continuously, not just in a mad rush at the end. It'll save you a world of pain. And finally, communicate clearly. Give notices, respond to notices, and just respect the process.
So, the next time you're on a project and you see a team out there with measuring tapes and survey gear, you'll know what's really going on. They're not just measuring dirt and concrete. They are executing Clause 12. They are literally turning physical work into a documented, defensible financial value. And that whole process, that's the foundation of a project's financial success. So the only real question left is, are your records ready for that level of scrutiny?